All right. Second chapter, project overview, understanding the different phases of project. And these are the topics what we will going to talk about. We will going to talk about the project versus program versus portfolio, project constraints, and project scope. All the other topics I will going to teach you. You can see it on the video or recorded session over here, right? And the life of we yesterday talked about life of project change management, and close the project. So this is the program versus project versus portfolio. But before that, can I ask you what do you understand about project? What do you understand about program? And what do you understand about portfolio? Yes. What is project? What is program? And what is portfolio? So this is the graph of project versus program versus portfolio. Portfolio is the high level of the company's portfolio. So in this example, we will going to no no portfolio is the company's product and whatever is combined in it. What the product is, what the service is, everything would be part of it, right? Give me one. Okay. So portfolio is company's portfolio. It is a combination portfolio represent a combination of programs or project. It is the granddaddy of everything. What's going on within a company. So Tesla portfolio, what it has a four electric vehicle. There is a new coming projects, Tesla semi truck, Tesla cyber truck, Tesla roadster. Everything is come under as a Tesla portfolio. You are able to see, right? This one, the screen I am sharing, or I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing, right? Oh, I was going through. How about now? So this is portfolio, right? These are the programs, square are programs, and in oval shape there are projects. So all the portfolio contains all the running projects, all the running programs, all the running things, right? So program is a huge thing. So we can say model S program, model 3 program, model Y program, right? Project is a temporary work. First of all, project is a very temporary work. It has a starting and end date. It has a budget to do some certain operation. It may include full-time employment or engineers inside the project, or you have to hire temporary employer or employee for particular project. And once the life cycle of project end, you will going to end their projects as well, right? You will be working. as a project employee once you finish the training. So project is a temporary thing. It will going to create a unique product, service, result by the end of the project, following the organized software development life cycle, because it has a limitation time period or window, has a goal based on the specific quality standard. It has a goal based on specific quality standard. So we will going to set that this much quality. So setting a benchmark eventually. So on that particular benchmark, your team will going to chase that benchmark to complete the project within that particular range of quality, right? Otherwise, you will end up with a poor quality product which nobody will going to buy. If we talk about recent failure of the product, let's talk about the project called Cyberpunk 2072 or something, right? So that video game has really hyped up for probably like 2 years or something like that, 2.5 years or something like that. When it will get released, it has such a poor quality, everybody hates it. Even though Sony has their own shop, just like Android store or something, Apple store or something like that, right? We have application, so you can buy game from there online. Right now, nobody use DVD or something on the console, so they you know get rid of that particular game from their whatever the selling platform is. That's how bad it is. So if you are not able to make the quality standard or the benchmark, then your product will going to fail. They were selling their game for 200 bucks earlier, before launch. Everybody, a lot of people bought it on that price. Right now it is selling for probably like 40 or $30 or something. Cyberpunk. Yeah. It came this season, this holiday festival. Probably December 14 or 15. That was the release date. Yes. Do you play games or not? So utilization, time, money, resources, and the people specifically allocated for the project. So it is a temporary thing. You will going to get some resources to do that some particular project. So here, project 3, project 4, you can see on the graph, project 1, project 5, 6. So project 1, what is it? It is directly comes under portfolio. Probably we can talk about, we can see that, Tesla has some common thing. uh, Center dashboard, which is going to operate the entire vehicle, or operation, or your airflow, your uh, ventilation, your seats and everything, heating seats and everything, your central console screen. So that comes under project 1. It is shared platform for different program, right? Once it gets finished, they will going to hand over and release everybody, whoever working there. And project has a generally time constraint and mm, time constraint and cost. No, it is not. Yes, they everything comes under portfolio. Everything is comes under portfolio. Even though project 3 and 4, that comes under portfolio, but with regarding model S, we can say project 3 is to build a chassis or build a battery pack for model S. So battery pack would be different for model X and model S. So it would be independent project for each of the program, because it has to custom tailored for that particular program, so it can fit that things on the specific program you are working on. But program one is a central console screen which include the software and the operation associated with that. If you go in model S, model X, model 3, model Y, everybody has the same kind of temperature control and everything associated with the things. Software would be same, the upgrade would be same, or autonomous driving. It would be same for all of the vehicle. It would be not different. So program one and program two, you can consider those kind of application, autonomous driving, or which applies to everything, all the programs. So it is part of portfolio. Tesla has a planning for, I'm just tell you, has a planning of be or provide the autonomous driving as a monthly subscription rather than take a 10,000 right now and you will have it for life of the time. It will be $100 per month or $500 per month for autonomous driving. So if you pay, you are able to drive by itself. If you don't pay, it will stop. So it is a huge thing, because it will going to impact their earnings as well, right? You can see, and it will grow Tesla a huge thing, just like seeing the Netflix or Disney Plus right now, right? So we already talk about this, right? The program is a logical group of related projects managed together in order to achieve decrease the risk, economics, and scale to improve management. In a program, there should be multiple projects or project manager. Every project has a different project manager. Rather, portfolio is a group of projects or programs that are linked together by a specific strategy or business. So, portfolio is always considered as a business goal. They want to achieve something, right? Portfolio. The programs or project may not be related to one to another, than the fact that they are helping to achieve a common strategic goal. So if we go back here, this program model S and program model X both are the different things, right? Model S is a luxurious vehicle or expensive sedan, we can say. Model X, on the other hand, is a SUV, a family SUV, which include has 7 or 8 seats in it. Everybody can sit comfortable, the entire family, right? So both has a different kind of application, but both are achieving one goal. And what is the one goal of portfolio? The strategy of the business is to create the alternative energy vehicle rather than building a hydrocarbon vehicle, right? So it will be pointing towards the same strategic goal, but everything would be not similar if we talk about and now from the example. Portfolio management is particularly concerned with the management of resources across the competing projects and programs. So portfolio management is always considered for money related to programs or project which comes under that particular portfolio, and the resources the people, right? Suppose we are still talking about Tesla. So Tesla need a bigger factory. So that is one of the resources, right? I want to build a pickup truck. How can I build a pickup truck with a smaller company in Fremont? It is not possible. I'm not able to compete with Model 3 and Model Y. So what supposed to I do? I have to create a new resources. I will build a huge factory in Texas, and that would be the main factory for this one. And I will going to shut it down this one. So that would be the Tesla's opinion or strategy to go to a portfolio manager. Portfolio manager include CTO, CFO, CEO, everybody. CFO will going to make sure they have money to do that, right? Everybody have a job to do. Portfolio manager must ensure that the senior management is provided with the information they require. So senior manager, portfolio manager would be, who is looking. So portfolio manager in this case would be COO, Chief Operating Officer. So Chief Operating Officer has to understand all the requirement. Oh, I have to build a new factory, everything. So all operation will going to work correctly. Those kind of stuff, right? So we talk about program, project, and portfolio, right? Do you understand? Do you have any question? So project constant, when any project is running, when the scope of the project will going to change. These are the five elements it will going to change the project, right? So the first is scope. Whenever the scope of the project is going to change. The second is time. Whatever the scheduled time for some particular project to achieve some certain goals has to be decrease or increase. The cost, company lost some money in some business or program they are running, and because of that they are shortening or on money, they are not able to sponsor the project. So the project manager has to find another or alternative solution for the sponsorship, but he is not able to get 100 percentage whatever the promise earlier. He get 80 percentage of it, so it will going to reduce the cost. So it will going to change the project, right? You have to retailer everybody or all the people inside working in a team. Risk. So sometimes you are working in a vehicles, a lot of vehicles. You are working on Model 3 with 300 miles of range, and your competitor come up or has listed in that company's website they will going to launch so and so date with 400 miles of vehicles range of vehicles. Then this is a risk for the project to go with. They has to include a larger battery pack to compete with this market, right? So whatever the project they are working on Model 3, they have to redesign their battery pack. They have to include more power cells in it so they can run more effectively and longer range. Quality. If the build quality is poor, you are not able to survive. The company will going to sink because of the quality, right? The good example is Cyberpunk. The quality is really poor. You can talk about build quality for Model 3 and Model Y is not up to the mark if we compare with Ford or Chevy or any other vehicle in the world. Let's talk about project scope. Do we need to talk about project scope as well? Yes. No, no, no. We spoke about it, but project team. Yes, we have to talk about project scope. That is the last topic we need to talk, and that's it. So that is called the project scope, project objectives, whatever the objectives included in it. Project boundary, what is the scope, what is the out of the scope, right? So suppose you are going to build a Model 3, right? As a business analyst, you have to make sure that 300 battery pack comes with 60 kilowatt of batteries. So some engineers suggest, I can fit in, there is a space, I can fit in 80 or 90 kilowatts of the battery, but that is out of scope, right? So as a business analyst, you have to set the project boundaries, right? Project objective is to create a model 3. That is one objective, but you have to break it down into small things. Create a 300 miles of range of vehicle. How much battery power it requires, what kind of chassis you will going to use, how many tire you will going to include in the vehicle, 4 or 5 with stepney. Are you, if you are not going to provide stepney, are you going to provide the puncture kit, so it will going to fix the flat tires and everything, right? So those kind of things, that those are the project objectives. Deliverables and specifications. So what are the deliverables, what are the checkpoints where we will going to deliver, and specification include what kind of things we will going to include in whenever we are delivering. If you are talking about autonomous vehicle features for Tesla, so version 1 will going to include autonomous driving, which will going to include the lane assistant. So it will going to drive in a certain direction, just like a cruise control in a direction with a lane assistant. So it will not going to change the lane. The second version will going to include whenever you give side, it will going to change the lane. If the vehicle is not there on that particular side, if it is safe to go there. So those kind of features. What are the deliverables and specification? Acceptance criteria. You have to make sure and draw a line over here. What would be the acceptation criteria? Because without benchmark or without quality, your product will going to fail, and that is a 100% proven things. You can take a multiple example, but let's take a cyberpunk as a first example. Constraints. What are the constraints? What are the limitation for that? We have a budget limitation, we have time limitation, we have scope limitation, right? So these are the project scope. Yeah, constraint is part of project scope. Assumption. I told you earlier, never ever have false assumption. Plant a seed of false assumption in your stakeholders. That is your job, to have a positive assumption for each and every product. Whatever you are doing, it has to be a positive assumption, because everybody has a 4 kilogram of brain. They can think multiple things in a single time. Whenever you meet somebody, you said something, you tell somebody, they have different kind of assumption. So be sure, make sure they have a correct assumption. The last point is dependencies. Whatever the project you are working, there is a dependency of everything related to some certain operation. Dependencies, your competitor, your product is launching, but somebody else come up with a good product. So those are the dependencies considered as a project scope. If somebody come up with a greater product, your product will going to fail. So those are called dependencies. In a software, there are some dependencies of language, there are some dependencies of some tool. So you have to make sure that those dependencies are inside of projects. If somebody say, uh, we have a 60 kilowatt of battery, you can go to 350 miles. That is impossible. Those are the dependencies. So you have to provide those dependencies. This is the dependencies. This is a limitation. We cannot exceed these limitations, right? So these are the project scope, and this will going to conclude our today's session.